Again, Charlie Greer podcast. I do this every day. Today, are they covering for a CI? Have you all been sheep dipped? Question mark. Before I start, pray for Abby and Libby. Pray for their families. Pray for law enforcement. Pray for everybody. Um, I want to give a shout out to Unresolved Crime podcast. If you're looking for information about this case or any unsolved, check him out. He's good. And thank you, Unresolved Crime. Also, if you want to support the channel, the information's in Zelle. And please like, share, subscribe. Let's do this. So, are they covering for a CI, a confidential informant? Is that one of the reasons why they're kind of lollygagging and not doing what they're supposed to? Could it be? So, a confidential informant, a snitch. So, if you have someone or multiple around there, it seems like everybody's a confidential informant. You'll cover because you don't want it to come back to you. Well, he was our confidential informant. No. I mean, in California, man, those people have a license to kill. A confidential informant can get away with everything. They will cover everything. Is that what's going on? Is there confidential informant? Because I think something like the crime, people did the crime or the person did the crime, and then other people are covering because it leads to other things. Could it be? They were sharing files. They are in this little secret society of like pervs or whatever the hell they are. Or they're covering for a confidential informant, maybe a couple confidential informants. And sheep dipped. That's an espionage term, intelligence term, where you really don't know what's going on. Basically, it's a term for like lying, cheating, stealing, all that stuff. See, the intelligence world, they'll come up with another word, like espionage. What basically espionage is just you're lying, you're cheating, you're stealing, you're double crossing, funny how they do that, huh? They need to coin terms because they can't come out and go, oh yeah, we lie, cheat, and steal. Anything can be able to do that. But are they is there some confidential informants involved? So crime happens. Robert Eyes is like, oh man, we got enough evidence. In the 60s, they would have solved this. So what does that mean? That means they had to go back to like detective work, like fingerprints, footprints, tire tracks. They didn't have hair and DNA and shit like that in the 60s. He was telling us something there. They had physical evidence, a lot of it, he claimed. That's his words, not mine. What are they doing then? Why aren't they I mean, it's a shit show, man. It's embarrassing. And where have they been? Why haven't there, LE came out and did another presser or anything? Strange, mysterious world we live in. And sheep dipped. Man, people do that in their own life, like narcissist manipulators. They'll never be. I know, not me. I'm not wrong. That. There's a lot of that going on. And then of course you'll use people. See, most people do not know what they're doing. Meaning, if they have like an insider or a leaker or something like that, don't you know they're just dangling you like a carrot in front of the. You're too narcissistic. Oh, I'm the greatest. To realize that you're being used. I feel for people, man, but there's a lot of people, certain people online that are sheep dipped. They'll never admit it. They can't even wrap their head around it. So why even try to say it? I have a feeling, again, I think this is a crime within a crime. I think this crime happened. Also, I think the crime might have been reactionary, meaning there's two things they could look at that. Like they stumbled up on something, and usually somebody wouldn't kill, but they're like, oh my God, he saw us. I ain't gonna go back to jail. And they just reacted. Or maybe they were let out there or ran into somebody, and then they did something happen where, oh, don't you make fun of me, and just reacted. It seems like a reactionary killing because they're even saying like, oh, he's never done this before. The cops said that. Law enforcement said. So did somebody just lose their mind in a fit of like psychopathic rage? Just, most psychopaths won't act on their psychopathy or whatever the fuck it's called. 5 to 8% of the population are psychopaths, man. Think about that. Think how many people that is. That's scary. Again, most of them won't. They just fantasize. They won't act out on it. But then there's some, they're go-getters, and they're also sociopaths and narcissists and this, that, and the other. And yeah. A lot of these people are smart, charming. Their drive is to be in the power. It's not even about money. Yeah, they want the money, but it's just the drive. It's like a gambler. They just need that action. It's sad the world we live in. In my humble opinion, this is my humble opinion. Again, all we have is speculation. All we have is assumption. I hate to use assumption. Assumption's like the mother of all fuck ups. But in this case, that's all we got. They're not giving us anything. That county around there is weird. Like in the Flora fire that happened in the same Carroll County. They will not release the 911 call. They went to court. They sued themselves, man. What is in that call? Nothing about that. What would they? No, God, we can't have it. Okay, shit. Is it that? Fuck me. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm cursing. But this case frustrates me. And I pushed that button that said "want for kids." So, I mean, get your kids out of the room there. Is it a confidential informant? Did they stumble up on some kind of, I don't know. Who knows? Meth cooking or whatever. And some of these are confidential informants. So they'll let them out, going to jail. A confidential informant. They don't go to jail, drop the charges so they can snitch on other people. That's the law enforcement game now, people. They just use CIs, confidential informants, snitches. They're not doing any detective work, man. That is everywhere. They use CIs. That is all they do. Pull somebody over. Yeah, well, see, we got you here on. Well, if you want to snitch, well, and then they will cover. Man, look it up how they've covered for confidential informants all over the country, probably the world. Again, I'm just asking questions, man. You know, I've said this before. I can't solve certain problems in my own life. I'm not one of these. I can't solve. I'm not a detective. I've been honest about like this case. I'm obsessed with it. There's other cases like, well, no, see, but it may be why I'm obsessed is the corruption. I grew up in a small town around that same size. This nepotism, favoritism, cronyism. Well, you're not. I'm so and so, and it's hard to get through anything, and it's generational, man. And also, you can't be in law enforcement nowadays unless you're in this certain secret society or other secret. It's a thing. I'm not going to say what they are because I'm already being doxxed. I don't want them to, it's brethren, man. You've got to. It's that. You're not going to be. There could be corrupt law enforcement. Not all of them are corrupt. Again, pray for law enforcement. I think it's just a few. Usually they're the higher power. They're put there. I bet there's some real decent cops that are just like they're gritting their teeth. They know. They're like, man, this ain't right. This is I guarantee something else is going on. Something else. It almost seems like there's some kind of like sting operation going on with the higher ups, meaning the state of Indiana and their law enforcement and stuff. And like an intelligence operation. Like they've gotten so crooked. It's just like, man, send the DOJ, Department of Justice. We got to get, and I bet that's everywhere. Unfortunately, we've the world we live in, the nation we're in, man, there's corruption. Now, corruption doesn't mean you're out murdering. Corruption means like, well, I'm so-and-so's boy, and he was sheriff. I'm going to be sheriff. I played football, so-and-so did that. See? Corruption, nepotism, favoritism. That is corruption. When you're doing it, you're like, oh, no, see, I don't break any laws. That's a crime. It's subversive. Doing things behind people's back. Covet means JFK. John Kennedy, or Kennedy, well, he was blown away, but that's what one of the last speeches he said. He was going after covet means subversion. Well, look what happened to him, man. They know, again, this is old as time. Didn't they make all the senators stab Caesar so they all had their blood on their hands? Everybody's got to get a little dirty, little grit on them. The mafia is the same way. Any kind of gang, when you get jumped in, they all have to beat you. That's what I think. I think, again, my humble opinion, I think that's what we're dealing with. I think we're dealing with groups of people that are not necessarily did the crime, but they have to cover for that crime because it's going to go up the pyramid, and they go, oh God, they're going to know about me, Just simple things that in their personal life, they don't want people to know. It's not even a crime. It's just in their personal life, they do certain things. They don't want, and I'm not going to say them. You can figure it out. I have a feeling that's going on. Didn't they say in that 29? I always go back to that presser, 2019. He's in the room. What? Then go get his ass. Shit. Oh, it's more important to cover for this dude than to have him walking around a murderer of 2 kids on a day off at school. Happy. I remember being 13, 14 years. Yeah, go to the, shit. I feel for him, man. I have empathy. I try to watch some of these podcasts, and it is just narcissism. They talk about this case, but they never mention Abby and Libby. They never mention the family. It's just about I self me. Look at I self me. It brings out some narcissist, and probably sociopaths that don't really act on their, hopefully not psychopaths, but again, most of them don't act on that. Don't we do psychological testing for kids? I know when I was growing up, like in the 70s, because I was a kid of the 70s, a teenager of the 80s. Awesome. I feel sorry for people that grew up with this like new woke fucking weakness is strength. And shit, I mean, I can't get it. I'll never get it. I've turned into that old man. Again, I'm in my 50s, so it's like, son of a, but that presser, that is the most chaotic, crazy. I've never seen anything in my life. I've always liked true crime. And that presser, man, they should study that presser. That is, did you notice they never mention it again? He's never said, if you bring it up to whoever about he might be in the room. Oh, no, so that. I can't say. See, that's another thing. They're trying, the integrity of the case. Integrity. Unfortunately, your integrity went out the window when you shifted gears. And again, what gear are you in, bro? Park, neutral, reverse? No one knows. Is your transmission out? Like you can't even go into gear because you burn out the transmission because you don't even, You're law enforcement, man. You said it. They said it. These families are sitting there and people in the public are, can you imagine the family? Pray for the families, man. Come on. The spotlight's on you. The world spotlight. And these lollygagging, again, not all, pray for law enforcement. Not law enforcement is bad. But I have a feeling something else is going on, even with law enforcement. There's a lot of tells that I'm picking up that on some of these characters. This is like a movie, cast of characters. Some of these law enforcement that I'd rather not say, but I have in previous send you down a rabbit hole. Just watch my Delphi because I mentioned so I slipped up one time. I was ranting like a madman, and I forget which video it was, but they're fucking stupid that they think that they can just prance around and be like, everybody fucking knows, man, about something's not right. Meaning, I'm not saying that they did the crime. And that's just another thing about law enforcement. You're told what to do. Don't get it. You are told. Well, we've changed directions here. We're at this angle. We're going to. We want you to go out. This is the new narrative. They'll hand you a piece of paper. Like, what the fuck? I've always thought, this is my humble opinion, that Doug Carter, who I think Doug Carter, I say you don't want Doug Carter in your ass. Okay. I don't want to talk too much about Doug Carter, but I have a feeling how his body, uh, his reactions. I don't think he had time to digest that for the prep what he was reading because everything word was he was reading it. He seems upset. He's digesting that as he's reading it. Like son of a bitch, you put me out here to read. Like just think about okay, this is a speculation assumption. This thing they had him. Okay, this is what you're going to say right before he goes on. Someone else, an FBI, whoever goes. Oh no, here you go. We changed direct. Here, this is what you're going to read, and he didn't have time to digest it. He didn't time to. He just had to go out there and riff, improv. You know what I mean? Like oh shit, that's why he's his head and he. Believe me, I've studied acting since like the early '90s. I'm in the Screen Actors Guild to this day. Okay, the union. I lived in LA for 24 years. I studied with Eric Morris, who's kind of like the master. Right, spent a ton of money, learned how to act. That's what a bad act. He's reacting. It's called an improv. You just give him something really quick and see how you do it. Literally standing there. He's acting like an actor who might be a great actor, but then he's just what? Oh God, no! And it's something dark and uncomfortable. Does he know? Again, is there a CI involved? And we're talking about higher ups. Like just don't think it's just some meth head that's a CI. Okay. It could be people in city government, could be state government, it could be whatever. They will put a gag order and seal those records if they're like, okay, I'll snitch. I think there's my inner self, my intuition, so to speak, is telling me a lot of things that I really don't want to say. But then it's a repeating. It's just a cycle. It's like, oh man, do I really, again, it's hard to believe anything. And it gets weirder and weirder and weirder. KK went to a military base. Huh? What? That only means one thing. He had to talk about some higher people, or they'd have to keep him on a military to protect him. They don't want him like, oh, he hung himself in this stuff. Oh, dang, Is that even true? Again, all this, I don't believe any of it, man. I just, I have to speculate on certain things. Well, everything. Something's weird about the bridge guy video. Flannel shirt guy. You can't keep up with these names and cast a character. I've said this before. You need an Excel program. And how many files are in that folder? You need an Excel folder with layers of shit. I hate Excel. Man, I don't even use it. I studied it when I was studying computers at Pasadena City College. I hated Excel. Is that what's going on? Is there literally like a CI and they're just like, well, we can't, and wouldn't somebody even the FBI, wasn't the FBI involved? But then everybody in the FBI that was involved is kind of shady. The one guy that spoke at the first time, he got, the Olympic, I don't get to say much, but he got pinched on some shit. And then the FBI guy that raided TK's house, well, he got, I think it was a DUI, and there was probably more. Like, oh, thank God he got a DUI. Now we can fire him. And look at these people. Again, I don't like to judge people how they look, but there's certain things people will do, how they look, that they are a certain personality. And they will never admit. You know that everybody in jail and prison, it thinks they're innocent. Oh, no, not me. Well, you were covered in blood and you had her. That's a thing. People will go to their death to be like, no, what me? I mean, I'm being framed. Watch that interview with John Wayne Gacy. They found I think it was 30 dudes in his basement. 30. Okay. And he's, oh no, see, other people had my keys to my house. I would travel. What did they do? Just go in and bury about where you're going? And he's like, yeah, shit. They're the only people that believe that is them. See, they're a narcissist. They think that if I say it, it's done, it's in stone. Nobody will believe. I believe that's it. They start believing their own shit. And unfortunately, people are insecure in their own lives. They don't want to speak up, and they're sheep dipped. So let's talk about being sheep dipped. That's an espionage term. I actually did some looking on sheep dip. Man, Google's changed the definition of sheep dip. They say it's espionage, but they're like, oh, it's how you transport military equipment. Bullshit, man. Sheep dipping is as old as time too. They named it sheep dip. Probably, I think it was in like anywhere from the 20s, 30s, or 40s. And you use people. Again, you don't just come up walking going, hey, I need some help. I'm in the intelligence community. No. They used to use movie theaters. They used to use fake nuns, fake priests, fake everything. Their main thing, David Atlee Phillips, look him up. He was an actor from Hollywood. He got taken out of that to be in intelligence work. They would go to these little places and he'd set up an acting, like a theater. Oh, we're just actors. We're theater. Running every kind of spy organization, assassination, all that shit. Military equipment, whatever. Under the guise of, and they would put on a play. Look at us, Don't believe me? Look it up. David Atlee Phillips, look it up. I think something like that's going on without the theater group or whatever. But we've all been sheep dipped, man. This case doesn't make any sense. Why would they not release anything? It's a small town case. They're acting like this has to do with national security and, huh? Some of us aren't easily fooled, man. I think that's why I'm kind of obsessed with this case, is because they're trying to pull the wool over everybody's eyes. And again, go back and I watched it like last week for the debates. The first one I watched, there was 3 guys running for sheriff. I guess the one dude who was a police officer didn't, make it to the prime. I don't even know what you call it. But now there's 2 guys. And the one that's the lead detective on this case, he's running for sheriff. Narcissist, man. And again, he's one of these short, puzzle-gutted, gunted. Can he do a pull-up? Can he pass a physical exam? Has he done a psychological exam? I mean, he goes, oh, there's no good old boys around here. No good old boys. 20 seconds later, I'm a good old boy. Huh? You son of a bitch. Like, you think we're that dumb? The other guy running seems like he's sincere. And he's like, hey, man, we have teams waiting. We got TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. They're known for solving shit. I'm from Tennessee. GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They're known too. They'll be sourced out to help other crimes. That's what they do. In this case, nah, we don't. So he goes, no, they've been turned away. They go back to the guy and ask him. He's like, oh, no, we haven't turned away. We're working with them. He just said you weren't. Who's lying here? And the one dude, the narcissist guy, the short, fat dude that looks just like Tobe. And I guess him and Tobe are like best friends. He's just, me. They're doing it for me. See, there's tells people do. Come on, they can't. It's the frog and the scorpion. Man, he's just the scorpion. Come on. And Tobe, he admitted himself. They were looking into him. He was one of the POIs. Maybe he still is. I don't know, man. It's frustrating. That BG video, the bridge guy video. First he was short and stubby. Now he's tall and thin. What? And they're like, well, see, we compressed the video, brought it back. Do we even? I mean, maybe I don't know. I have no idea. Is there another case where they literally have the guy's voice and the video? Like it was a while back, but guys, that word guys, to me, this is my humble opinion, speculation, assumption. I think that's 2 different recordings. I think the guys down the hill, because guys sounds like guys, question mark, down the hill, exclamation point. So to me, in my mind, the life I've lived, I'm a little bit older than most people. That's what you would do. You'd call the guy in for an interview, and that guys, how he says that, it sounds like almost like a recording. Be like, guys, why you have me here? I didn't have anything involved with this. No, I'm not. It sounds insecure. It sounds like he's questioning it. No, do they know? Then down the hill is an exclamation point, man. He's in that groove. He's a creeper. Did they do that? Did they edit those two words together to tell him, like, hey, man, we know? That's just my humble opinion. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe I'm. Again, all we have is speculation. All we have is this case is a riddle wrapped inside a spider web, wrapped inside it's just and the arrogance of some of these law enforcement, man, I can't put my hand, well, I can't put my finger on it because they're all in this secret society. They're all this, that, and the other. You have to be in law enforcement, man. Look it up. I can't say it here I'm being doxxed, man. I was talking to a friend last night, and she's like, when I search you on YouTube, you don't even come up sometimes. Yeah, it's like that. And why they're doing that, I have no idea. Again, I've said this. I could do a shitty podcast on my own. I could not succeed on my own. I don't need somebody holding me down, right? Look at this podcast. I don't have any programs in other window. I'm not that good, all right? I'm just a dude sitting in front of his laptop, ranting like a madman. I get it. I'm not for everybody. But it's my humble opinion that we are there's CIs involved. I don't know. Maybe is there CIs involved? Are we sheep dipped? It's like we're being frank. Somebody's being frank. Like there's patsies. Oswald, who supposedly shot JFK, John F. Kennedy, our president, 63. They're walking him down the hall, and the police, and he's like, "I'm a patsy. I'm innocent." He said that. People didn't use the word patsy with the intelligence. You see, patsy used to be like a word that, like a patsy or a patsy, you're kind of like a now, but they use it in intelligence terms. That's a different term. See, they'll use same words, but it means different things. How did Oswald know? Again, I'm not trying to get off track, but I think something's up. They're not even good at this intelligence game. They're not even good. Again, there ain't no espionage going on. It's just that they're law enforcement. I'm not saying that they're all involved, but I think that there's something going on. There's rhythms to this that like seems like that's what a cop would do or something. Or someone that knows and then the mayor or the ex-mayor, he was at every meeting. He knew about all the new information stuff. And then all of a sudden, they would not allow him around. Why is that? Then he quit, resigned, and now he's the new deputy assistant attorney, whatever he is. Sorry if I get some of this wrong, because there's so much to keep. I don't have my Excel file out folder to keep up with all this shit. Hell, it's like it's like a TV series. Like it's gonna be 7 days, 3 hours each. Come on, man. There's so much. It's hard to keep up. I also think, and I've said this before, that some of these YouTubers might be right. Like they have different POIs and other people, certain people involved. Well, they could be, because it's certain people did the crime. Then they're connected to these other people, maybe sharing files, whatever they were doing. So don't be too hard on some people, of course, some of these YouTube channels about this case, I don't like to watch. I mean, it's my tastes, Again, pray for Abby and Libby, man. Let today be the day, man. Let justice. I mean, come on. The family, shit. Pray for the families. Pray for law enforcement. Pray for the YouTubers. I mean, this affects us all. If this is not solved, then it will repeat itself. Has it? Because I guarantee you it will if they don't put the hammer down. They need to come on. It seems like, Doug Carter wants to do certain things. He seems like he wants to. Is he told? Again, you're told what to do, man. You are told what to do by multiple They have think tanks and lawyers and this, that, and the other. And oh my God, there's no telling what they have now. Well, you can't say that because it might have, and then what that shit, huh? So you have to go out there and speak in like generalities, like, yep, on the case. Well, God, see, that's what they're doing. And is this connected to the fluorifier? The floor, it's 4 girls, man. Pray for them too. And the funny thing, it's the same cast of characters. Like, what? It's like a spinoff from a sitcom or some shit. Dear Lord. And they're getting away with this. That's another reason why I'm obsessed with this case is because they're getting away with it. Yeah. Like, you're not going to ever touch me because I'm in this secret society and I'm also this, that, and the other thing. Let's go screw you. It's like they're giving us the big middle finger. Comment below. Do you think there's a CI involved? Can you wrap your head around what sheep dip means? Comment. Let me know. Again, I don't know. I ask questions. It's sad. It's sad how this situation is just moseying on. Matter of fact, it's not really moved. Besides this other stuff, opposed opposition. Look into what that means. You bring people in to lie and say other stuff and this, that, and the other. Look into who's got the informant, the leaker. They're the opposed opposition. So you just again, intelligence work is you use mostly the truth and then a little bit of a lie. Man, it's hard to wrap your head around all that. You can't because it's mostly true, except this certain top layer that they, I think there's some opposed opposition going on. I don't want to name names, but who's got the insider? Who's getting all this information? And then, yeah, it's like that. Pisses me off. Again, pray for Abby and Libby. Pray for their families, man. Dear Lord. Pray for law enforcement. Pray for all of us. It affects us all. Again, if you want to support the channel, the information's in Zelle. The information's in Zelle. The information's in the description for Zelle. Like, share, subscribe. Do what you got to do. Spread the blessings. And I love y'all. I do this every day. I'll be back tomorrow. Ranting like a madman. I love y'all. Be blessed. Cheers.